people, they did something wonderful for me. I was able to control 13 kilos, and I felt so healthy. I was doing exercise, and things went out of control. People could see on me. I was doing so many activities with my customers, and then I qualified for supervisor as soon as I could. It was then when I saw the marketing plan for everybody. And then I graduated as a medical student, and I was trying to do this only part-time. But then I was trying to really, have a post degree. But then in 99, I was an ophthalmologist, but I was already a team member. And I thought maybe I could do this part-time, but I decided to go full-time for it. And things started happening for me. Undoubtedly, this was a great change. And it in a year and a half, I made it to male team, and a year after that, I was president team member, and things changed completely for me from living in that very humble place. I had the place that I always dreamed of with my parents, my husband, my kids. It was an opportunity that I took, and I thought that was my future. But I would like to hear from you as well. Tell me your story, how you made it.
Well, Yoli, in my case, I started 17 and a half years ago. I started when I was a student, and I had lost my job after a financial crisis here in our country in Venezuela. I live in Caracas, and overnight, many companies just closed down. Where I was working closed down, and my search started happening for a job because that was the only thing that I knew how to do. My mom said, study, graduate, and look for a job, and this is the only thing that I'm going to be able to leave you in life. So I started submitting all my resumes to every company I could. However, not a lot of companies were hiring at the time. Sometime later, I realized that my CV wasn't that great. So I started doing other things, and I remember that what I thought is while I'm doing good in this, I can have good income. I tried many things. After 10 months after having lost my job, and more out of desperation than out of conviction, I decided to start in Herbalife. And they say I decided because I got to be in this independent business more than 31 years. In my case, my mom was taking the products 31 years with a lot of results, and I have two uncles that work in Herbalife as an independent business, so 31 years ago as well, with a lot of results. And by the way, with whom I'm 100% grateful, because thanks to them, that at some time they're against the tide and that they stayed on, my life changed entirely. So I started listening to them, and the first thing they said, Asier, take the products. I didn't really understand why, but I started taking them, and immediately I started adding exercise, starting eating a much more balanced diet. In a couple of months, I started doing a lot better in terms of my weight. And thanks to that, people started asking me. And I was doing it on a part-time basis, and I was generating what I was doing in my past job. So I was thinking, I made this, and what happens if I start training more? And I went to my first event, and I met a lot of people around me. A lot of people had a lot more experience than me, but some were students with little experience that they were experiencing a lot of results. So I said, why not me? So I got out of that event convinced that I was going to do this for the rest of my life. And to the next event, and by the way, you're going to be listening today and tomorrow, and I had the opportunity of going to my first international trips in Cartagena de Indias, and obviously the landscape opened for me, and things started to happen for me. And thanks to that I became a supervisor, then everything started going a lot faster. My income in the third year were like a get team position, and 5 years later I got to the mill team position, and 8 years later we had gotten to the president's team, where you finally reach that independence that you want. Of course, with a lot of hard work and dedication and making things happen, and my life has changed entirely. Now I've traveled the world with my friends, my family. I've been very fortunate 6 years ago to have met the woman of my dreams, and 3 years ago that my life changed entirely. A little bit longer because we had our first child. We have two wonderful children today, for whom we work very hard. And thanks to, at some point, having made that decision of starting in this business, we have our time freedom and in our schedules to be able to share with them.
Wow, that's amazing. But now that I see you, I started Herbalife when you were only 13 years old. I couldn't imagine being on the same stage, but just imagine how we are bound by the same ideas, same circumstances. You married, you have your kids, you started being a professional, and I was a student. So any one of you could be in a similar situation like him, like me, but the Herbalife territory is open worldwide. There's no limits, no borders. And you know what? There's something very important that we have to do the work, our effort and dedication. Just like it worked for him and for me, we have the privilege to be here with you and share the experience of Herbalife Nutrition.
All the small details that the company takes care of, which makes this experience be unforgettable.
If you are chairman, club, president, team member, or top producer, and you are about to receive the marvelous gifts from the company, you have to show the world that you are a proud, independent distributor of Herbalife in your social media.
And in addition to that, the top producers, silver, gold, and platinum, will also receive a cash bonus for having qualified with this promotion. And to continue to know about this and more initiatives, the company has come back to introduce for the second consecutive time the segment of Herba News.
Wow, on this occasion, we have new guests. So let's meet them from the studio in Buenos Aires, Argentina, the Communications Director for Corporate for Central and South Americas, Analia Ciafanes.
Thank you so much, Jelibet and Asier. Good afternoon. This is the Herbalife Nutrition Newscast, broadcasting for all of Central and South America. So I invite you to join us throughout this edition. This is Analia Cianfania. And let's start with international news for today, and with two very special guests. With his vision and leadership, our first guest supervises all the aspects of the strategy and growth of the company, guaranteeing that it continues being recognized worldwide as a leading company in nutrition. He worked before Herbalife as the Assistant Secretary of Health for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and Secretary of Health for the state of Florida, and President of Health and Well-Being for Walmart. Currently, he's the CEO for Herbalife Nutrition. Our second guest, for 27 years he's been in the company, and he worked alongside Mark Hughes, supervising the regulatory area worldwide and directed all the regions of the company, having a key role in the opening of more than 35 markets. Today, he is Executive Vice President of Mexico, Central South America, Brazil, and the one responsible for worldwide distributor relations worldwide. From Los Angeles, Dr. John Ogwanobi and Rob Levy, welcome.
Hello, SamCam. We are so excited to be here. When I was last with you, it was a virtual extravaganza. And back then, I never dreamed that we'd still be living in a virtual world a whole year later. I'm really looking forward to the day where we can be together again in person. But until then, I ask each and every one of you, please stay safe, stay healthy. There's nothing more important.
Wow. John, do you realize that there are 50,000 people watching us today?
At least.
That's incredible. And I just want to thank SamCam. Wow, last year was such a great year, and this year has gotten off to an incredible start. I want to welcome all the new supervisors. It's just an honor for me to be here, especially with our CEO, John Ogwanobi. This is going to be so much fun, Analia, for sure.
My first question is for John. We've just had record yearly sales in a challenging context. What are the factors that contributed to this growth?
We've had lots of things that have impacted us. As you know, the world has just kind of changed on us this last year. Everything has changed. I'm really proud of the fact that the company stayed the same. The company didn't change. I know we changed the way we do our business, but we didn't change who we are. Our culture stayed the same, our value system stayed the same. I'm particularly impressed by the fact that our distributors continue to do what they do best, nurturing community, helping others improve their nutrition habits, and working to help others build an exciting business by offering and nurturing them around the business opportunity. You know what stayed the same in our company? Our refusal to quit, our resilience, our creativity, our passion. Our distributor That's what didn't change. And so those are the things that I think have allowed us to be so successful during some tough times. There are a few other things that are going our way. The strategy is working. Thanks, Rob, and your team. And the strategy is working well. I do think that there's an increase in demand for health and wellness as the community becomes, I think, more aligned with the notion that living a healthy, balanced lifestyle is a good thing. So there's lots of things going in our favor. We did really well, and I'm really proud and happy for all of you.
Rob, in 2020, our region grew more than 8% in volume growth, and we also grew in retention and recruiting. What was the key component for success?
And I just want to echo what John said, which is, our distributors, our distributor leadership, it's just been incredible, and that's really filtered and fostered the growth in the company. And of course, it was your first year as CEO, all right? So I think we did okay. We did okay. But for sure that, listen, the number one thing is the distributors, and that, one of the things I see, John and Analia, is this. For the first time in our history, the marketplace is moving directly towards us. Before, we were always chasing the market, but now people want to live a healthier, active lifestyle. They want to supplement their income, and they want more security. So, all of those factors led us to make sure and, to fuel that 8% growth. It's incredible.
Y esta pregunta es para John.
And this question is for John. We've heard you say many times that there's never been a bigger opportunity to join Herbalife Nutrition. What tendencies do you see to guide the independent distributors during next year?
It's no surprise that there's been an increased interest in health and wellness these days, obviously. As I said earlier, whether it's our consumers or our distributors or even our employees, I think everyone recognizes that healthy nutrition is a good thing, right? But there are other trends that are moving, as Rob said, that are causing the market to move in our direction, that are causing our distributors to find it that this is their time. For example, technology, social media, the whole ability to speak to hundreds of people using technology and digital tools. This is an important new trend in our business. I would just point out that even though the pandemic has been here for the last year, a year and a half, that the obesity epidemic continues to be here in a big way. It's been here for decades. It continues to get worse, and it continues to drive people to look for ways to improve their nutrition. So it's all good in that regard. The business opportunity is important as well. Lots of people are beginning to realize that it's okay to have an additional source of income on the side. It's okay to work from home. You don't have to be in an office. These are all trends that I think are going to fuel our growth, not just today, but out in the future.
Yeah, by the way, John, the adaptability of our distributors, the ingenuity, the way that they go to market and the way they saw the market during the pandemic, I mean, you guys did an incredible job on that. So, for sure.
We recently did a survey of people out there in the world, and we asked them, what do you want to do with your lives? And 76% of them, 76% of the people we asked the question said, we wish we could build our own business. We wish we could be entrepreneurs. So there's lots of demand out there for the business opportunity. But in that same survey, they actually pointed to the fact that the reason they don't start businesses is because they don't have confidence, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the skills, and they don't feel they have the support. Isn't that amazing? Because those are all the things that Herbalife Nutrition offers people. When they come into our family, we offer them those things that they need in order for them to become entrepreneurs.
Rob, el año pasado...
Rob, last year we launched 50 products in our region, and you usually say that we sell results. What is the powerful combination that turned us into a unique company?
Yeah, first of all, I want to congratulate all the distributors. I want to congratulate Maximo and the entire team who was responsible to launch those 50 products. We actually launched more products than we anticipated, so congratulations to the whole team. But really, at the end of the day, when it comes to our products, it's that combination of high-quality products based in science, that are personalized, and the distributor coaching that gives them, that helps them get their results is fantastic. It's also the distributor difference. That comes with each product and really sets us apart from any other nutrition company on the face of the earth. It doesn't stop there though. We want to nourish the potential in everyone, and that includes business potential as well, and we want our distributors to have the best chance of succeeding and growing their businesses, and coaching and training and education. That's all the help that they can give to their customers and to their fellow distributors. Our distributor leaders are committed to it, and so is our staff and our experts, and it's been just an incredible year in terms of products.
So true, so true.
Hablando de productos,
Talking about products, I think it's the first time I'm going to ask you this. What are your favorites?
I'm very clear on that. My favorite is Herbalife 24 Rebuild Strength chocolate flavor. I love, that's my favorite shake for sure. But I often add Beta Heart, which I get from EMEA. It's a fiber product that I think is really good. Lots of science behind it.
Okay, now, like you, I'm a Rebuild Strength guy, but I usually mix it in the morning with cappuccino from Russia. Wow. But John, you're not going to believe this. Analia, they've discontinued that formula.
What?
So now I have to have the new formula from the Russian-speaking markets. Okay, I think it's cafe latte, so I'm going to try that soon. Right. Then I supplement in the afternoon with the chocolate mint and some chocolate. Mix that together, and then I take other products as well. I take multivitamins, Herbalife line, Nightworks. There's a whole host of them I take, but I'm a big Herbalife user of the products for sure.
John, siendo médico,
John, being a doctor and having led the Herbalife team of experts on nutrition, what do you see that distinguishes us from other nutrition companies?
Well, before I go any further, let me just say what is obvious, and Rob just alluded to it, which is the big difference is our distributors, right? They are by far what causes us to be very different from everyone else. By the way, not just other direct sellers, but actually that's what really differentiates us from retail and from online sales. Having a distributor there to help coach you and help you achieve your results is the big difference of our company. Now, I am very proud of the fact that the company over the last 41 years has built so much infrastructure and expertise in supporting our distributors, whether it be our doctors or our nutritionists or our scientists that every day are working to improve the nutrition in our products. You know, there's a whole army of experts that are a part of our company and are dedicated to supporting our distributors. I think our commitment to supporting our distributors is something we should be very proud of, Rob. I think it makes a big difference. I suspect that many of our distributors are very grateful over the years for the way we've invested in supporting them.
Rob, en la última...
Rob, in the last entrepreneurship survey in our region, it turned out that 82% of people were happier from when they started doing their own business. And also they agree that counting with a support system is something fundamental to be able to achieve their goals. What distinguishes us from other companies for entrepreneurs?
And when Mark founded this company, he said, you can't succeed at Herbalife unless you're helping someone else. That's servant leadership. It's our culture, it's who we are. And distributors help your customers, you guys, every single day achieve your your customers' personal goals, your distributors' personal goals, whatever they are. Our distributors help distributors achieve their goals, whether they're looking to earn a little extra money or whether they're looking towards a full-time income. So, you know, that's one of the differentiators. And of course, all of us at the company are dedicated to helping our distributors succeed.
You know, I'll just add to that, Analia. You know, one of the things that I've come to learn over the last few years is the importance of community and the fact that our distributors are just super expert at building communities of their customers, communities of their downlines, and even within the sidelines and the broader community. I think it's one of the things that kind of makes us stand out. We encourage, we embrace, we support community all around the world.
John, uno de nuestros valores.
John, one of our fundamental values is giving back to the community. How are we implementing these initiatives?
So obviously, I think it's more than just how we give back to the community. I think it's about how we give back to the planet, right? So there's lots of pieces to it. First of all, we're a company of good people doing good things. And the more we can let the world see that, the more I think people will be drawn to us. It's good for business when people see you as a good company filled with good people doing good things. So the notion of giving back to community, whether it's supporting the Red Cross or any other not-for-profit entity that's helping, or the notion of sustainability, protecting the planet around you by reducing the amount of plastic and the amount of carbon that you release into the environment. There are lots of different things that we must do to be socially responsible, to show the world that we are good people in a good company doing good things every day.
And by the way, one of the initiatives is Nutrition for Zero Hunger,
Yeah.
right? And,
Oh, of course.
You know, please.
Of course. By the way, and that's an important one. We do many things, but that one stands out, I think, as being one of the most important ones. It's a recognition of the fact that not everyone is as blessed or as privileged as we are, and many people actually struggle to find their next meal. Children, mothers, families. And so I'm very proud of the fact that our company and many of you are participating in helping those that can't even find their next meal, helping support them so that they're never hungry. Now, obviously, our goal is ultimately to have everyone eat the best nutrition possible. That's the mission of our company. One of the many missions that we focus on is improving people's nutrition. But first, we just need to make sure people have at least a meal on their table. And so that's what the work we do with Nutrition for Zero Hunger.
By the way, it's just so overwhelming. The generosity of our distributors, of you out there, the 50,000 of you. It's so heartwarming to see what's happening in the communities around the globe.
Now, on the sustainability front, which is also a part of this conversation, we're really just beginning, right? There's so much more to do. But we've already eliminated the use of plastic bags, and we're almost there around the world. We've incorporated 25% recycled material in our cans, our Formula One cans, and we're going to do more. I think the key to being globally responsible is to never stop. Start somewhere, and every day, just one step after the other, work with a sense of the fact that you owe it to your customers, to your community, to yourselves. Let's do everything we can. We've already eliminated 1.4 million kilograms of plastic from our business, but there's so much more that we could do.
Mi última pregunta es para ambos.
My last question is for both of you. How do you see the future of the company?
Nothing excites me more than what I see out on the horizon for our company. And the reason I am so confident and so excited by it is because I see all of you, I watch you, I see your work, I see your innovation, I see your passion. And in my mind, nothing can stop us, right? When you have those ingredients, nothing can stop us from attaining our goals. Now, I will say this, there's hard work ahead. But I also see each and every one of you every day working so hard for your families, for your communities, for yourselves. And I realize with these kind of distributors, the future is so, so bright.
Yeah, and Analia, for me, when we work together, when we have the community, both with the distributors and the company, there's nothing we can't achieve. But it all goes back to culture for me. This culture of Herbalife is so powerful, and it started with Mark Hughes and Jim Rohn, and 41 years later, we may have changed over the years, but our culture is so powerful. And so, you know, I'd like to leave you with a couple of things that I think are foundational to our culture and how you lead as distributors and how we lead as a company. And so, you know, the first one and the most important one is that everybody has to operate with ethics and integrity. Without that, John,
All the time.
We have
all
nothing.
day, every day.
Okay? Right from the words, you know, from the lips of Mark Hughes, have a great attitude. Always have a fantastic attitude. The next one is to come to work every day with energy, take ownership, and follow your convictions. These are very, very important. You have to build relationships. You have to embrace change and adversity, and we certainly learned that this year, John, through the pandemic. And I'm going to add a new one today, Analia, just for the audience in the extravaganza. And that's to make sure that whatever we do in our business, whatever you do, is done so we gain trust. The trust of your customers, the trust of each other, the trust of our employees. Trust is critical to the future of this company.
You know, we're trying, and we're going to get there. We're trying to make it so that one day in the future, your grandchildren, my grandchildren, we are all recognized as having built the most trusted nutrition company in the world. I'm confident we can get there. We have the right strategy. We have all of you. What can stop us? You know, I've learned so much this last year. We all have, right? I've learned to appreciate our company. I've learned to appreciate our culture and our community. I've learned that we're capable of achieving anything that we commit to, especially when we do it together. You know, society faced extraordinary challenges all around the world. I watched you guys step up together. I watched you overcome all the obstacles. I watched you supporting each other and serving your customers everywhere. It was amazing. But now, as we look to the future, I'm realizing there's even more to be excited about. I'm renewed. I'm candidly re-energized. I know that as we look to our future, it's extraordinarily bright. It's exciting. We find ourselves, all of us together, at a very special place on our shared journey. But I will caution, this is not the time to rest, to lay back, to slow down. Actually, to the contrary, this is the time to accelerate, lean forward, work harder than ever. Let's do what we do. Let's take this company and change the world with it.
Let's do that, baby. You got me fired up.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much to both of you for joining us on this special day.
Nos vamos ahora de...
And now we're going to go to sports. Our special guest was born 32 years ago in a small city in Colombia called Necoclí. In Colombia, he played for a few years in Independiente Medellin, but he immigrated very quickly to Italy. He played for Udinese, Lecce, Fiorentina, then he played on Chelsea, and now he's one of the biggest stars that Juventus has. And he's one of the most active and committed sportsmen with the actions we carry out with the Foundation of Herbalife Nutrition. Let's go directly to Italy. Welcome, Juan Guillermo Cuadrado.
Hace muy poquito tuve una presentación para...
Just a little while ago, I did make a presentation to the foundation. I talked a little bit about my story, and I wanted to repeat something. You need to have a clear objective. You need to have discipline. You need to work hard. They are very important to make our goals happen as a professional soccer player or an entrepreneur. I'm sending you a big hug and many greetings and many blessings to all of you. Bye.
Juan Guillermo represents 100% the values of our brand. Look at everything we're doing together to take our brand to the top.
Vamos cerrando las noticias de hoy.
We're coming to the end of today's newscast, and I echo John Aguanobi's words about the importance of giving, helping others in our communities. In Herbalife Nutrition, we take care of children in vulnerable situations so they have access to nutritious food, education, and attention. Thanks to the contributions of independent distributors, the Herbalife Nutrition Foundation donated in 2020 $318,000, equivalent to 331,000 dishes of food benefiting 2,900 children daily in Casa's Herbalife Nutrition Central South America. It's a challenging year, without a doubt. We're able to have annual health and commitment with all these organizations. And also this year, we'll continue having the support of our sponsors like LA Galaxy that recently gave donations to 3 casas in the region, and with our Nutrition for Zero Hunger program that deals with hunger, food insecurity, and malnutrition through donations of product, strategic alliances, nutritional education, and activities being a volunteer. I only have to say thank you for everything that you guys do, for contributing for the well-being of thousands of children in our communities and improving their life. I invite you to see a video with everything we're doing together for social responsibility.
Nutrition. Construimos valor en las comunidades con las que interactuamos. Protegemos.
We build value in our communities. We protect the environment in which we live in. And we also generate action that have a positive impact in nutrition and well-being of so many people, millions of people. We have 3 pillars. The Herbalife Nutrition Foundation and its program Herbalife Casa has as the mission of improving the lives of children around the world through access of a more balanced nutrition. At the same time, the foundation has a disaster relief organizations to be able to respond to catastrophes with humanitarian relief. Nutrition for Zero Hunger, the initiative that we launched in response to the problem of hunger in the world. Today, 1 out of 9 people experience malnutrition. 1 out of 3 are affected by malnutrition, and 1 out of 10 is obese. So how did we achieve that? Through product donations, strategic alliances, nutritional education, and activities and people being volunteers. Plus Green, in terms of our strategy, we are committed to the well-being of our country. And in the way to a more sustainable business year after year. We're working on 4 priorities: the elimination of footprint by 2050, and also sustainable products and recycle programs. We are just getting started, and together we can build a better future for our generation and the ones to come. Join us.
Damos las gracias.
We thank all our special guests today in the second edition of our newscast. Saying goodbye, thank you for joining us. And now back to the main studio, Jolivet y Nasir.
Muchas gracias, John, Rob, y Analia.
Thanks so much, Analia, Rob, and John. Herbalife Nutrition is such a great company. The support, the trust, that's everybody know that we don't only have excellent products, but a great team that on daily basis they work. So our Herbalife Nutrition business, of course, is stronger.
That's right, Jolly. And what do you say about the way Herbalife Nutrition and the way it has been adapting over the years? The world is evolving faster and faster, and the company is always avant-garde, innovating, and surprising us. And we've adapted in such a reality, in such a way.
Constantly, the world is asking, demanding that we evolve, and this is paramount so we can go at the rhythm of the world.
Being flexible and having an open mind are key to accept change. And this is going to bring in new knowledge and experiences that are going to help us grow as people to be wiser and stronger.
Definitely. And this is a change that we have to voluntarily take care and be aware of the change. That's why we have a very special speaker that is going to tell us about the power of the mind. And through that power, we can reach big goals. Let's listen to him.
Hello, guys. Thank you very much. It's such a pleasure to be here with all of you and to share with you here at this Herbalife Nutrition event for Sam Cam. Thank you to all of the leaders in Herbalife. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this amazing event. I am aware that many of you may know of my book, The La Vaca, or The Law of Attraction, or Storytelling, and many of you, I may have run into you many times at another event in SamCam. In any event, I would like to send you my warmest greetings today and to congratulate all of the new supervisors that are now part of this event. Congratulations to all of you. I don't know if you know this, undoubtedly you probably do know this, but that level of supervisor, it is one of the most important ones. I have been lucky enough to travel throughout many countries in Europe, over here in the United States, and throughout Latin America. And I have been with many of your leaders, of all of these Pres team members and Chairman's Club members as well. But regardless of who they are, their age, what country they're from, there is one common denominator. All of them have one thing in common, and that is that at one time or other, they were all supervisors as well. Now, if your goal, your purpose is in your business is to achieve that level, mill team, Pres team, Chairman's Club, well, congratulations, you're all going along the right path. Everyone that has reached that level have gone through the level where you're at now. And I say that this is one of the most important levels. Why? Because you're starting to be able to see the potential of your business. You're going to be able to see everything that you can build with this business that you have in your hands. In order to build all of this, you also realize that you also need to change your mindset. And that's the topic today, that change in your mindset, that idea that you can achieve whatever goal that you want as long as your way of thinking is the right one. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and I would like to start with a story. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to be at an event in New York City with one of my mentors, one of my idols in this industry, and it was Peter, the great Peter Drucker. He is the guru of business administration. And we were both giving a seminar at the very same event, almost at the same hour, same time. My finished a little bit before, so I ran. As soon as my event was finished, I went and I ran in to listen to Peter Drucker's event. I didn't want to miss out. And it had already started. And when I just got into that session very slowly from behind in the room, there was Peter Drucker in the front. It was jam-packed. And when I got in, he had already started with his presentation, and he was saying, right at that moment in time that I came in, he was saying, it is impossible to improve the quality of a product. I had no idea what he was talking about, and then I said to myself, well, that doesn't make really much sense, but it was Peter Drucker, so of course, right, I wrote it down right away. It's impossible to improve the quality of the product. Then he continued and he said, it is impossible to improve the care and the service that we provide to our customers. And I started to looking all around to see what people's reactions were from everybody else. And I said, maybe they were talking about something and I don't have the slightest idea what they're talking about now. And this stuff seems absurd. How can you not improve the care and the service that we provide to our customers? Then he said, it is impossible to improve the way in which we manage our businesses. Now, I didn't write that down anymore. I said, probably I just came in too late. And not to the presentation, maybe Peter Drucker, he is not, basically, there are some cards missing in his deck here, that you can improve the quality of the product, impossible to improve the quality of service, and how we manage our companies. That's crazy. That's nuts. Bonkers. And I said, well, then he said one of those things that were just wonderful, one magical thing that I thought was just incredibly powerful. He said, these three things are impossible to do. The only thing that what we can do is improve the quality of the person who manufactures that product, who provides that service, or who manages that company. That's the only thing that we can do. And then I said, wow, it's true. You cannot improve the quality of a product keeping the person who's manufacturing that product with the very same quality. The improvements in a product, in a service, in a company are simply the reflection of the improvements in the mindset of the person who is in charge of manufacturing that product, providing that service, or managing that company. What was actually very exciting about all of this was that I understood that for many years, there are companies that think that they can improve their products and without improving people. So that's crazy. That's absurd. The only thing that we can do is we can only improve ourselves. Your success along your career, along your path as an independent distributor for Herbalife is inextricably related to your ability in improving your mindset. Many years ago, I had the opportunity of carrying out some studies at the business school, at the Harvard Business School. And I remember that one of the professors at one of the very first classes that he was giving us, the professor would say, for all of the reasons why somebody is successful and goes onward and reaches different positions and becomes fulfilled personally and professionally, and everything that contributes to that success, the most important points are related to their attitude, to their level of motivation, and to their ability to develop positive relationships with people. 80% of our success depends on our attitude, on the level of motivation that we may have, and our ability to develop positive relationships with others. Whereas the other remaining 20% has to do with our skill sets, our technical expertise. So then I started thinking, well, more often than not, we pay more closer attention to those technical expertise and those professional skill sets, but we don't really pay attention to our attitude, our level of motivation, and our ability in developing positive relationship with others, which contribute 80% to our success. When I look at that 80%, simply, it's just a change in your mindset. It is a change in the way that we think. And this is why when I'm speaking in front of a group of leaders, before a group of supervisors, new supervisors, the only thing that I think is that here, this is where we can truly start to see that change. When I say that this is one of the most important levels, I say so because all of a sudden at some time or at this time when people reach the supervisor level, they start to see this potential and they start to understand that in order to keep going upward in their business, first of all, there has to be a change in their mindset. They do see the opportunities of the business. They are starting to see the role that they're going to be playing as a leader in their organization. They're going to start to understand that their success in the business is proportionally linked to their ability to help other individuals to also do that change in their mindset, to make that transition, to stop thinking like average people and to start thinking like entrepreneurs, like successful people. And when I'm talking about just average people, I do not say this in any disparaging manner, but rather when I say is that when we reach the business, we're just average people when we show it up. We know about the business like what any average person would know about the business, but if we really want to be successful and we want to move forward, we want to build a sound business and helping us to achieve the goals that we are seeking out to make our dreams a reality, well, then we need to transition. We need to stop thinking like average people and we need to start thinking like entrepreneurs. What I would like to do today, and with all of you, our new supervisors, is I want to share 5 areas in which we need to make a change in our mindset. These are 5 areas which will enable us to change our way of thinking so that we can go from a distributor to supervisor, going to the Prez team and Chairman's Club, if that is your goal. So there are 5 areas where you need to change. The very first one, and where there has to be a change in your mindset, is that we need to accept 100% of the responsibility or the accountability for our success. What do I mean when we need to be 100% accountable for our success? And also that change in your mindset that has to happen. The average person is waiting for things to happen. Many people come into the business and they are just waiting around and they cross their arms and they're just waiting and seeing how their businesses are going to grow. They don't understand that it's up to them. They are the ones that have to make the business grow. And somehow they have in their mind that being successful in the business is the end result of a magical formula. And no, in order to be successful in the business, what you need to have is discipline, consistency, perseverance, hard work, strategies, and you need to have an action plan. And that every single one of us are the architects. We are the builders of our own success for our own business. This notwithstanding, average people, when things do not start to happen in their business, they start to look around and see who is the guilty party. And then they say, well, I am almost sure the fact that I'm not being successful, it's my team that's at fault. They're not doing what they should be doing. Or maybe it is my sponsor who is not helping me as they should. Or the problems are the circumstances. Yeah, that's probably it. It's the circumstances. Maybe it's the economy. Maybe it's the country. Maybe people are not there, and this is not the right time to build my business. So pay attention and see how an average person thinks. That person has not accepted 100% accountability for their success. So when they do not grow everything that they think that they should grow, they start to look around and see who is guilty. And please rest assured that when you start to look for a guilty party because you're not successful as you should be or as you would want to be or you're not as happy as you should be, rest assured that you're always going to find a guilty party. And that guilty party is going to be your team, your sponsor, the economy, or your partner, or the government, or the marketplace, the universe, or life itself, or fate. Whatever that may be, it doesn't matter. And that's how an average person thinks. That is their mindset. However, but if you transition and if you start to think like a successful entrepreneur, let's see how a successful entrepreneur thinks like. A successful entrepreneur understands that he or she are the ones that make things happen, that he or she is the engineer of their own fate, that things are going to happen when we take action. There is an expression that can be linked to Albert Einstein, and I think that this is something that is simply wonderful. It doesn't have anything to do with the theory of relativity or quantum physics or the like. But what he would say is for anything to happen, first of all, you need to do something. So it sounds crazy, but well, of course, that goes without saying. It's a no-brainer for something to happen. Of course, you need to do something, but you can't even imagine the number of people who are waiting around for something to happen to their business without them doing anything at all. So when you show up and when you reach that supervisor level, you realize that the things that are happening in your business are happening because you have made those things happen. Nobody is going to be reaching Mill Team, Prez Team, or Chairman's Club and says, gosh, I have no idea how I got here. No, it's very clear. It's crystal clear how they got there. It was the end result of strategy and action plan that was put into place. It was the end result of working consistently in developing their goals. It was the end result of starting every single month with very specific goals in mind to grow in every area of the business. So the very first major mindset change that needs to happen is vis-a-vis that accountability. So what I have seen is that more often than not, there are many people misinterpret this idea of being their own bosses. bosses. Because in this business, you are your own boss. You are your own boss. You are at your own business. But many people, they are confused. They mix that up. Well, since I don't have a boss, then I can do whatever I want. I'm going to build my business when I want. I'll do what I want. I'll be speaking to whomever I want. And to a certain extent, it is true because it is your business. But that's how the average person thinks. Instead of looking at the possibilities of being their own boss and looking that as an option and as a chance to work hard with discipline in achieving my goals and my dreams because it is my success, I look at it rather as, well, gee, I don't have anybody. I don't have a boss to tell me what to do, so that I will do it whenever I want, whenever I fancy doing it, and whenever I want to. Whereas an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur says, I am my own boss. And because I am my own boss, everything that's going to happen in my business is the result of my actions, of what I do. And every single sphere, every area, prospecting, sharing this business opportunity with other individuals, speaking with other people about my products, and sponsoring new distributors into the business in all of these areas. Everything that happens is the result of whatever it is that you do. That's as simple as that. So the very first major change which should happen is that one. You need to understand that I have to start by accepting 100% accountability for my success. I'm 100% accountable. Now, the next area pertains to the fact that the average individual believes that he or she needs to wait to be motivated to take action. Listen to this. They said, well, I haven't done anything because I'm kind of like unmotivated. I'm not motivated. So I'm going to motivate myself. I'm going to start to have that same enthusiasm, get reinvigorated. No, and that's how an average person thinks. He or she thinks that the action's going to follow motivation. So you need to be motivated in order to take action. So there are many people that are just average people who come to this kind of event, and then they say to themselves, well, gosh, I'm here for you to motivate me. They cross their arms, they sit, and they say, I'm here to be motivated. Okay, I'm waiting for you to motivate me. Almost as if their motivation is the responsibility of somebody else. Whereas the successful entrepreneur has changed his mindset and the way that they think. He understands that his motivation is his own responsibility. So it's somebody who always lives and is always self-motivated. This person does not wait for them to be motivated. They know that the only thing that is going to be motivating us are our dreams, our goals, and also the possibility of seeing our goals become a reality. This is the greatest motivation. There are people who do tell me, Dr. Cruz, what is it that I can do? Can you give me some ideas to motivate my team? And I tell them, I said, gee, gosh, I hardly even know how to motivate myself, and much less can I motivate you, and even less, I cannot tell you how you can, in turn, can motivate others. What you discover here in this business is that your objective is not necessarily to motivate others, but rather it is to be so motivated with what you're doing, so committed to your business, so excited with the possibility of achieving the goals that you have set for yourself for your Herbalife business, that your team, when they are close to you, they are going to be catching it, that motivation. They're going to be catching your optimism, if you will. And then you don't need to grab a mic and say, and give them a whole motivational speech and inspirational speech. No, rather your actions, the way that you act is enough. It's enough of a motivator so that they follow suit, so that they duplicate what it is that you are doing. Now, the big leader sets himself apart from a good leader. A good leader makes it possible for them to believe in him or in her, to follow them, or to follow him or her. But the great great leader does something incredible, something that's even more important, and makes it possible so that these people can believe in themselves. And the way that you achieve this so that these people can believe in themselves is by teaching by example. Because as a supervisors, you are also going to see that there are also people that are also part of your organization. There are other people who are paying attention to what it is that you are doing to know what it is that they need to do in turn in their own businesses and also how to act. But what is paramount, the most important thing that you're going to be teaching them in terms of what they're going to be doing is your example, whatever it is that you do. And so that second area where I think that there is a major change in your mindset, that has to do with the fact that action is what creates motivation. By developing a focused mindset that is based on action, because on your mindset, the average person does know what he or she needs to do. The problem is that they do not have the resolve to do so. They don't say that's not the right time to do it. There still needs something else, that they still need to learn a lot to make it happen. What is indeed true is in this business, the leader learns to lead by leading, by taking action. The entrepreneur is developed being an entrepreneur. It's not something like, well, I want to be an entrepreneur. Do you want to be an entrepreneur? You want to be a successful entrepreneur? So the very first thing that you need to do is take a class on entrepreneurship. That's going to take a whole year, and then later on you can start to practice and act like an entrepreneur. No, an entrepreneur learns how to be an entrepreneur by being an entrepreneur. The painter starts or learns to paint by painting. A writer learns to write by writing. And the successful entrepreneur has understood that the only way that they're going to be able to understand to be successful in their business is by doing what it is that they know that they need to do. The average person knows what they have to do. The problem is that they talk about what it is that they need to do. They think about what it is that they need to do. They plan what it is that they need to do, but they don't do it. Whereas the successful entrepreneur who has changed their mindset knows what are those activities that they need to undertake so that their business grows, and they do it. They carry them out. They start every single month with a very specific plan in terms of how they're going to be reaching and being successful in every area of their business, because they know what are those areas that they are accountable for the growth of their business. So that would be the second one, the second area where there needs to be a major change in your mindset, and going from focusing a mindset that is focusing based on action and not simply on theory, on knowing what it is that has to be done. No, what is important, not that we need to do. What is important is doing what we know that we need to do. And this is where the major difference lies. So therefore, this is the second area where we need to develop this change in our mindset. Very well then. The third area has to do with something that is incredibly important. You need to decide what it is that you are going to be focusing on. What are you going to be focusing on? The results that you may have in your business or in any other area of your life, those results are the end result of the work that you do, right? The results are the consequence of the work that you do. And the work that you are doing is the end result of your attitude. Therefore, the results depend on your work depends on your attitude, and your attitude depends on whatever it is that you decide that you're going to be focusing on. And there's a huge difference between an average person and a successful entrepreneur. A huge, mega difference. There's a huge difference here. And one has to do with changing your mindset in terms of everything that has to do with what we have decided to focus on. The average person has decided to focus on their weaknesses, what their shortcomings are, what they're still lacking, what they still need to learn. They're always focused on their weaknesses. As a matter of fact, you get an average person on the street, you get to them and you ask them, hey, you're good at this. No, I'm not. I'm terrible at that. I'm horrible. I'm just horrible at that. I can't speak in public. I am terrible at sales. I am not good at math. I did not inherit the people gene. I'm an introvert. I'm so bad at being persuasive with other people. It's almost as if they had a complete perfect idea of everything that they don't know and everything that they know that they or believe they do not possess. So they are completely wholeheartedly convinced in terms of what their weaknesses are. They've already reviewed them. They have completely identified them and they have accepted them as part of their personality. That's how I am. That's just the way it is. That's my personality. And they think that there isn't anything that they could do about it. That's how an average person thinks. However, the successful entrepreneur has made another transition, has changed his or her mindset, and then they focus on their strengths. They focus on their strengths. But remember here, there's one thing that's very important that we need to understand, and you only realize when you are doing it. The fact that the successful person, the successful entrepreneur is focusing on their strengths, it does not mean that that person does not have any weaknesses. No, the successful entrepreneur also has weaknesses. The difference lies in the fact that despite their weaknesses, he or she has decided that they're going to be focusing on their strong suits. And whereas the average person is so focused on their shortcomings that they don't even have time to think about what their strengths could actually even be. Look at the difference between both kinds of people. All of us, we all have strengths and weaknesses. All of us. You have them. I have them. People who have come to the press team, the chairman's club, they also have weaknesses and strengths. It's not, well, they got there just because they only have strengths. The truth, it was the resolve, the decision that you need to make and say, well, on one hand, I have my weaknesses, and over here, I have my strengths. So, which of these two am I going to pay attention to? What is it that I'm going to be allowing to guide my life that's going to make me be successful in my business, or how far I'm going to be going in my business? Am I going to allow this to limit how far I'm going to be reaching my business? I'm going to let my weaknesses allow me to guide me, or am I going to let my strengths guide me? Because there are people that tell me, well, Camilo, in any event, I need to know what my strengths are. So my weaknesses, rather. I need to know what those weaknesses are so that I can overcome them. I said, yes, that does make sense, right? But the problem is we focus so much on weaknesses and we hope that we're going to be able to overcome them, but we focus so much on them that we become specialists in our weaknesses, and we never leave. We never overcome them. So you should not only focus on your weaknesses to be able to overcome them. The successful person, individual, is honing in on their strengths. And when you hone in on your strengths, you overcome your weaknesses. So focus on what it is that you know, whatever it is that you know how to do well. Hone in on whatever is the very best. Well, yes, I could be a better communicator. Or maybe you get a little bit nervous, you get butterflies when you speak in public. That doesn't matter because you're probably just incredibly excited with the products. You just love the results that your product has had in your own life. Well, share those results. Don't pay any attention. Don't mind the way you communicate, your verbal or oral communication. But when you pay attention to what it is that you really know how to do, what really excites you, what really motivates you, you know what? Little by little, without even realizing it, with the passing of time, you're going to realize that you have overcome that weakness. And not honing in on that in particular, but rather focusing in on a strength. So this is something that all of us can do, every single one of us, something that you can do. And this is why I think that this is the very third aspect that you need to use to change your mindset. You need to focus in on your strengths and not focus on your weaknesses. Very well then, let's move on to the fourth area. The fourth area where you need to change your mindset. You need to change your chip, the way you think if you want to be successful. And this is something that is very important. And this happens not only in our business, but rather in any part of life. And that has to do with how you interpret your difficulties, a different crisis. How are you going to be looking at them, interpreting them? We all fall. They're all crises. Of course, they are going to exist. They are just part and parcel of life. That is the way life is. And I remember many, many years ago, I read a book. It was called The Path Less Taken. And it is an amazing book, The Road Less Taken. And you imagine how it starts. It starts with the following words: life is difficult. And I imagine somebody was going to be reading this book for personal growth. They're going to be opening up that book, and the very first line it says, life is difficult? Well, if that person's a little bit weak, they're going to be closing that book and they're going to be putting it on the shelf and saying, no, this book is not for me. This is not the book that I'm seeking out. What do you mean life is difficult? But if you put it to the side and you close it, they're not going to be seeing the second line, the second sentence that comes after that one, and that is, life is difficult. But when you accept and you understand that life is difficult, then life is no longer difficult, because you understand that all of these hardships you are encountering, you're grappling with, are part of life. So the average Joe, the average person, interprets their fallbacks whenever they suffer any difficulties, hardships, or any type of crisis. They're almost like signs that the future's sending them, that whatever it is that they're doing is not for them, that they should just give up, that the best thing is just to do something else. They're going to fall, they're going to fail, they're going to be grappling with a crisis and say, well, this is God who is sending me a message. This is the fate, this is my destiny that says this is not the path for you. And that's how an average person thinks. But a successful entrepreneur who has changed his or her mindset, then you see them as themselves as a successful entrepreneur. They don't see when they fall down as a sign that the future is telling them that they need to give up. When they fall, he or she sees these failures and the crisis and hardships and difficulties and problems. They look at them as opportunities to learn, to grow, to improve. You see, we, throughout our lives, and this not only happens in business, throughout our entire life, we're going to be having more setbacks and failures than successes. You can't change that. That's not changing. But what you can change is how are you going to be looking at every time you fall. In my own case, whenever it is that I have to grapple with some type of difficulty or I fall down, instead of focusing on what average people usually do, and they ask themselves, why on earth is this happening to me? Why does this always happen to me? I don't ask myself that. I say, what is it that I can learn from what I am facing in light of a hardship, in light of a crisis, in light of some type of disruption that has forced us to rethink ourselves, to reinvent ourselves? The successful entrepreneur says, what is it that I can learn? What is it that I can go to the other side of this crisis, a better version of what I am now? Because there are only three ways to overcome that, to go beyond this crisis. You could be worse than you were when you started, the same as you were, or better than you were. And if these are the three options, as far as I'm concerned, there's only a single option. I want to go to the other side, and I want to be better than when I started. Better than when I started. So it all is based on how you look at and you interpret every single time you fall down. They teach you, they make you question yourselves. When you suffer a setback, problems, hardships, they make you reevaluate things and decide what are the new skills that you're going to be developing, that you're going to be improving. And this is something now that you as a supervisor, as a new supervisor, you need to learn how to do so that you can continue to move along on your journey towards carrying out your dreams, your goals, and also to achieve a higher new level along your journey as an independent distributor for Herbalife. What is it that you need to do? And that, whatever it is that you need to do, to a great extent, depends on how you answer to every setback, how you respond to every setback. The fifth area, and the last, but not the least important, has to do with something that is related to something that has happened to all of us throughout our lives at some time, that we have undergone, that we have experienced, and people that people question us. And this has to do with how much are you willing to learn?
Exige un gran cambio de mentalidad.
And this does require a major shift in your mindset. Now, I don't know where you're seeing me here today. I do not know how long it has been since you have reached this level of supervisor. I do not know which country you are in. I don't know how old you are. I do not know how long you have been in your business. However, what I do know is that any moment in time, I can look at you in the eyes and say, you, at this moment in time, you are making it, what you know right now, you have reached the upper threshold, the maximum threshold. If you want to earn more, you need to learn more. The average person does not understand this. The average person at some time thinks, well, I have already learned everything. I don't need to learn anything. Going forward, that's it. Easy peasy. I'm just going to implement what I've already used. Whereas the successful entrepreneur has developed a different mindset. He or she knows that learning never stops. And indeed, it is true. Imagine a doctor, and then a doctor is seeing you and they say, well, I graduated 30 years ago, and thank God since I graduated, I never had to open up a book again. I didn't go to any conferences. I didn't go anywhere to learn anything new. So would you be happy going to that doctor? Personally, I wouldn't. I want to know that the person who's going to be taking care of my health has been studying, that knows the leading edge techniques, the most recent techniques. But the successful entrepreneur, unlike the average individual, says, well, gee, I've already did everything under the sun. I've already graduated from college, and that's it. I'm not going to read again. But the successful entrepreneur doesn't do that. I never, ever, ever, ever have I ever met a successful entrepreneur who is not always learning, who is always reading a good book, who is not listening to somebody else or learning something that's going to be helping them to learn, to develop a new skill set. They're always learning. This is one of the keys to continue to grow, that we are always learning. The average person says, well, I already know enough. And they reach a certain threshold that they have reached with whatever it is that they've learned. But that's where they stop. They stop learning. And since they have stopped learning, they stop growing. And their business is in a rut. It remains stagnant. And your level of being a supervisor needs to be a temporary one, a transitional one. This is not the end goal. This is an intermediate goal that you need to go through along your journey to reach other goals. But in order to reach those other goals, you need to continue learning. You need to continue learning, and you need to go back and apply everything that you have learned. And you need to do this on an ongoing basis, for this business provides you with this opportunities to continually learn. And this event, what is happening here and now, this conversation that you and I are having right now at this juncture, is part of that learning process. This is part and parcel of understanding what it is that you need to know and what you have reached this level, where you need to do to go to reach the next level now. When you get to the next level, the next tier, you're going to see that there are going to be other talks for those people that have reached that tier to teach them what it is that they need to learn again to go to the next level. And I just think that this is incredible. Like when I go to events and specifically face-to-face meetings where I'm able to see your leaders, people who are press team members, chairman's clubs, who are writing things down. They are taking notes. and they are thinking and they are seeing and seeing how they can learn whatever it is that they're listening to. And at the same time, oddly enough, people who are very new to the business, to just started in the business, they're just looking with their arms crossed, gazing, and just saying, well, gosh, yeah, I have heard this already before. And they feel like they know it all. Whereas people who've had the most success, they continue to learn more and more. So with that, I want you to please pay attention to these 5 areas, and I want you to understand that your success in your business, and now that you have reached this level, you're a new supervisor, your success in the business is proportionally linked to everything that you learn and that you apply. It's not simply about learning, because this is not about being an area or an erudite, articulate person or part of the intelligentsia. No, but rather it's to learn and to apply that for 2 reasons. Number 1, because your results, the results that you will achieve in this business are not linked to how much you know, but rather in terms of how much you do. And that's reason number 1. Everything that you achieve in this business, your benefits that you get financially or whatever they may be, they are the result not about what you know, not from what you have learned, but rather from what you have learned and that you have put into practice. That's reason number 1. And the second reason is because this is a business based on duplication. And your group, your organization, your group, your team, they are always going to be moving at the speed of the leadership. So if you want a team that wants to moving and achieving new goals, well, then you are the one who has to set the pace. You are the one that you have to show them the way. How? How are you going to do that? By your example. So thank you very much. Once again, thank you very much to Herbalife Nutrition for your kind invitation of being part of this event. And thank you to all of you, your leaders. Congratulations to all of the new supervisors. I would invite you to continue learning, growing, and continuing to be successful. Please put these 5 areas that you need to make a change in your mindset, put them into practice, and I am convinced, wholeheartedly convinced, that one day you and I are going to be seeing each other up there at the Success Summit.
What a great presentation. Thanks so much. So motivating, so